So when you're doing a rollover, actually the most difficult part of it is getting the images right. You can use Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever will generate an image for you. It has to be in one of the three formats, PNG, JPEG, or GIF. I don't know that you can switch between two different formats, so if you're using PNG, use PNG for both, would be my recommendation. I'm doing this in Illustrator to get them the same size, which they have to be with that so you don't distort them. What I'm doing is I'm creating a box, and then all my content is going to go inside this box, and then it will clip to that box. You could also set up your artboard the same size and have it clip to artboard, but somehow you need to make sure that they're exactly the same size. If you just did something like this and then tried to come back in with text, they're not going to be the same, so you would have problems with it. So from here, you just go through the normal save for web. However you want to do it. I made this a PNG 24. It could probably actually, with what I'm doing, be a GIF. And then do save. What I would recommend is go ahead and name them names that make sense, especially if you're going to have 5 or 6 different rollovers. Give these where it's like rollover 1, original, rollover 1, over, something that gives you a clue on what you're doing so you're not sitting there guessing back and forth. So I'll save that. Then I can go back in. As long as now at this point, what I don't want to do is change this background square at all. I can make it the same color as the background if I just want it to disappear when it happens. But I don't want to change the size. Otherwise, it will resize it when I do save for web. Say I want to change the colors on it. That's all I'm going to do for now. I would just go back in. If this is my secondary one, then when I do save, I want to make sure that I indicate that that's the rollover. So that's the process. It gets a little more involved when you are actually doing it, especially if you're doing ones that are fairly large. So once you have your content created, all you have to do to make them work is you go in under Insert, and then Image Objects, and there's a rollover image. And when you get to there, it will create this. The top one is not something you need to worry about, so I just usually leave it whatever the default. It's going to name it into Image 1, Image 2, Image 3, however many rollovers you have. Then I've got the original image, which is the one that when I'm not over it, and I named that Original so that they match. Makes it easier for me. And the same thing on the rollover, I just named that the overstate. So now I have the two images. It's going to preload the rollover image. That's just going to make things work a little faster, so there's not going to be a pause every time you roll over one of these. Alt text we'll talk about a lot more later, but that's alternative text for people that are using that have vision impairments, that are using a reader software. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, on the on-click part of this, you've got two different ways that you can do this. If all you're doing is an effect, then all you want to do here is put in a hashtag or a pound sign. That will just make it using that code will make the browser know this is supposed to be a link, but it won't go anywhere. So then it's just going to work as an effect. If I want it, when I click on that, for it to actually open a different file, then I would go through, do open. I did browse, and then found the file, and then did open. Now it will go to that index file. So I'm going to click on OK, save my work, then look at it. Now when I roll over it, it's going to do that. If I click on it, it brings up the other page. So that's really all there is to doing a rollover. Like I said, the most difficult part of the rollover is getting the images and the concept where it's actually doing something other than just flashing things back and forth.